setting the alarm for the same time every day, it just makes it kind of consistent and don't hit snooze. Just get up when the alarm goes off.
Asana Rebel. Welcome to the podcast at Rebel Radio. Today we're going to be talking to Crystal Seaver, who is an inspirational figure in the fitness world and has a passion for adventure. She's a self-professed fitness junkie who shares an inspirational message of living life to the fullest with her huge following, and we're very blessed to be in her community. Asana Rebel's just had the pleasure of shooting and producing a collection of HIIT workouts that she made and modelled herself. It's going to be coming out this spring and we can't wait for you all to try it. So hello, Crystal.
Good morning, good afternoon.
No, it's early morning for you. I think you text me around like 4:30.
Yes,
right?
it was 4. I got up at 4, so I think I just answered right away.
Amazing. I think that was one of the craziest things and easiest things for me is normally when I'm calling people from the US, obviously being based in Berlin, Germany, it's like, okay, I'm having to do it at 6 or something. And then when I was calling you at 11, I'm like, wait a minute, how is this happening? So your early mornings work for both me and you.
Yes.
I saw on your website also you have this as one of your main statements. So you're a morning person. Is this something that's always been a thing for you, or did you have to build it in as a habit?
I have always been more of a morning person. I would say that it still doesn't make early morning easy all of the time, but because you have done it over and over again, you make it happen. But I don't know that anyone is really a morning person when it's dark and cold outside. It doesn't really want to get up. But I know that when I start my day early, I'm more productive and generally happier because it does feel productive.
Yeah. And then, so then on those days that you're like struggling, because I know personally, I find it very difficult on some of those days. And sometimes I will just stay in bed. Like, how do you manage to get up basically and get moving? Yeah,
no, that makes complete sense. There are definitely days where I don't want to get up at all. And I think that I've learned the difference between, I don't really want to get up or I really actually need the rest. And I think it's important to sort of be able to distinguish the two, because if it's early, most of us don't want to get up, but once we're up and moving, we're okay. But if it's the point where I'm actually too tired or need the rest, then my body needs to rest in order to be able to kind of give 100% to everything I need to get done in the day. So either it's routine and you make it happen because once you get up, you're up. Right. But setting the alarm for the same time every day, it just makes it kind of consistent and don't hit snooze. Just get up when the alarm goes off. Snooze. It's so easy to be like, okay, I'm just going to stay here today.
Yeah. And then basically, so if you're getting up super early, what does a typical day look like for you?
So my typical day, I try to do my workout early in the morning to get it out of the way so that I can focus on work projects or clients or other things throughout the day. So that's kind of my start, is that I use that early morning hour to get my workout in. And it started that way because prior to working for myself, I worked in the corporate world. So I had a standard 8 to 5, 9 to 5 where I needed to be in the office. And if I was going to get in my long run or my workout, I needed to be up early in order to be where I needed to be on time. So I've kind of adopted that same principle, even though I have more of a flexible schedule. I find that if I start my day and still have a plan, I'm much more successful throughout the day and it becomes, productive versus, okay, it's now halfway through the day and I feel like I've gone in every direction. So it's just kind of my routine at this point.
Amazing. I think basically the idea of ritual has been in history for so long, whether it was something to do with religion or also you see a lot of in yoga as well, that just this kind of like building yourself a ritual or certain rituals throughout the day, it just makes for more production, like you're way more productive throughout the day. So I think that's really cool that somehow, because you had to be forced into this lifestyle of like super early routines and you were, doing that for a time, that you still managed to carry on, because I think yeah, it's great that now you have so many different things going on. So if you didn't have these extra hours or this routine, a lot could get lost. And that's probably attributing to a lot of your success. And I think for a lot of the listeners out there as well, and also our users, I would be super excited that you've mentioned a little bit about the corporate background that you had. How did you get to be the Crystal Seaver we know and love today? What's a little bit of your story?
Sure. I'll try to give the quick story here.
Yeah.
I went to college with the intentions of going to law school and becoming a lawyer. So I finished my undergrad degree, worked in a law firm for 5 years, almost 6 years, and decided one day, like, this really isn't the right fit, not because I wasn't excelling, like I just wasn't so happy or energized by it that I was like, this just isn't right, and I need to make a change. So I gave my notice at work and I went to teach competitive gymnastics full time. I have a background in gymnastics as well. So that's kind of where I started in the fitness world with children. And from there, I added in sort of my personal training and things of that sort, went back into the corporate world for another year or so, continued fitness endeavors. And then we had the opportunity to move out of state. And when we were going to move, I decided that would be the perfect time to decide if I could do sort of all of these fitness things I was doing on a part-time basis as a full-time job. And I gave myself 6 months to kind of figure it out and kind of see where I was at financially and if this was making me happy and if I could actually pull all the pieces together, and it was working. I can't say I actually knew what I was doing, and I can't even say I always know what I'm doing. But I've been willing to sort of try it out and find my groove and direction in this fitness space. So today, I am a personal trainer, and I get to do many projects because of that. Part of it has been made available because of social media and the connection right there. So many of my large scale projects or connections have come through the social media platform at this point in time.
Amazing. And the social media platform, I think we've talked about it before, but for everyone else, I mean, how did this grow? I think you said, or something I was telling you is that obviously this authenticity of the way that you portray everything that you're doing, because you are just real and honest about what's going on in your life, which is, I think, why one of the many reasons that people love you. But is you were saying that your followership, it grew just organically, right? It wasn't like you tried really hard to get more followers. It was just you were doing what you were doing.
Yeah.
And then it worked. Yeah.
That's absolutely the case. I get lots of questions about how my followers. I don't have like the exact answer, but what I can say is that I consistently was sharing part of my life, whether that be fitness or, sort of real life aspects with relationships or, things that we struggle with, and kind of the ability to create conversation with others, right? Create a space that we can communicate and feel connected. And it's kind of that authentic or vulnerable voice that allows people to feel like, okay, now this is a real person. It's not just a pretty picture, it's a real person. And I think that consistency and that conversation is what has allowed such an interactive following.
Yeah. And I think it's we have to, as followers, respect you, because I think it's the way that you see a lot of beautiful yoga pictures and a lot of beautiful fitness pictures, selfies, etc., where people look great. But when you see and you read your captions and you see the pictures of you and you hear your story about your dedication, you're getting up in the morning, you're going for these long runs, your real training and the effort you put into it, I think that's what makes us so wanting to watch. Like, we want to see what happens next. We know that the training is ongoing. So, I mean, do you find it quite hard to keep that up, or you do it for yourself anyway, or is it quite hard? You now have people watching you. How does that feel?
I think that there could be pressure, right, to continue sharing a story and continue sharing, the photos or the posts or story content, whatever it may be. But I think it's also been really important to me to be able to be okay with, okay, today, like, I'm not going to be on social media at all. And that doesn't make or break anything. And I think that's hard in the world of social influence sometimes, to back away and not know what's going on through there. But I just actually came back from a little trip out to the mountains, and there was no Wi-Fi or really and it was actually kind of nice to not be on your phone or your computer, and it didn't really upset me in any way, and I didn't feel like I need to share that story kind of real time, that I can recap that afterwards and just kind of live and experience that moment right at that time.
Beautiful. I never really thought about that, actually, that if you sometimes just let it happen and then maybe reflect on it after, then that's when the real juice comes. That's amazing.
Yes,
that's very insightful.
And I think it's really hard, at this point in time, because we are able to be so connected that sometimes it becomes hard to step away. But I also think it's really important.
Yeah, definitely. And then, I mean, basically, I think our users will know you, whether they know you on Instagram already, they'll know you when the collection comes out as well. And they'll be working out with you doing the HIIT collection. But I'm also I would love you to explain a little bit about also what you're doing now. You do a lot of running as well, not just running, but like marathon running, trail marathon running. And what kind of things do you what kind of sports and fitness are you doing?
Absolutely. So besides sort of these high intensity workouts, my primary goal usually is to kind of complement my long distance running, and I run trails really primarily. Obviously I run on the road sometimes, just due to being in the city and not in the mountains all the time. But the goal for this year is to run a race in August called Squamish 50-50, which means you'll run 50 miles on day one and 50K on day two, so 80 miles total over the course of the weekend. And it's on some pretty technical terrain with a lot of elevation change. And that is one of my primary focuses always, because I love to be outside and I love that sort of challenge as well.
Yeah.
But so a lot of my training will be done outside in the mountains, and part of it will be that, okay, just time on feet and being on my feet for a long period of time. So versus running. And then it will be those long distance miles. But the biggest component of that as I get closer to this race is that you do back-to-back long runs, and that could be by mileage or time. So on the weekends, my time becomes kind of consumed by these really long runs. And when you have to run for, 3, 4, 5 hours, maybe even longer at a time, you have to really prepare to sort of have kind of imbalance in your life, right? Like everything can't be balanced at all points in time. And because that's an important part of my life, I've always made it work, but it does come with other sacrifices.
Of course, I can definitely understand if you're giving also, you're up in the morning, you're out during the day, and then recuperating and recovering in the evening. And then at the weekend, you're, obviously dedicating your time. It must be a huge passion for you. I mean, do you think that this constant exercising and focus that you have going towards these competitions and the adventures and everything, do you think that is what makes ultimately your life completely fulfilled?
I think that's a huge component of it. It's become sort of part of life. It's also created a lot of genuine relationships and connection with others. So it's fulfilling sort of that role of friendship too. And that's kind of, the network of people that I'm surrounded by, or, many times people that are doing similar things. But it definitely kind of played on some of, my own characteristics and passion a little bit more, and intertwined itself throughout everyday life, not just, okay, this is my training for the day.
Amazing. Yeah, I think community is such a huge thing always in fitness, to be able to keep each other accountable, and also just as little reminders. And, if you have, it's like a family, one person will always be motivated at some different point, so you always have one person you're like, gosh, I'll get back out. Yeah. And I think one thing, actually, our entire company, because we're obsessed with you, and we really wanted to find something, because we know that fitness is very difficult for people to keep focused, right now we've just had the new year. Obviously we had the January, like everyone having their new year's resolutions. Do you ever lose your focus and like motivation? And if you do, how do you come back from that?
Absolutely. I don't think there is anyone out there that is motivated at all points in time. I usually say that kind of my commitment to what I do is what makes up when that motivation is falling short. And I also know when it's time to sort of take a break or like scale the training so that it becomes a little bit less like work and more fun again.
Cool.
So generally after, a big race, that my training block going into that running event was pretty intense, I'll scale back when I'm done with that race and kind of train, still train, but train for fun, that the schedule doesn't have to be so rigid. Or maybe I'll try a different workout, or okay, if today I really don't feel like doing it, like, okay, I don't feel like doing it, and it doesn't have to be that commitment piece. So I think it's important to realize that it kind of goes in phases. You're going to have high points and low points, but when it stops being fun, that's when it's time to reevaluate what's going on.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's really interesting, actually, as you said. So either just like move the routine, so maybe try it at a different time, maybe not at the same time, also try something new, and scaling it back. I think these are really interesting, because I also believe that it's good to just keep doing something, even if it's something completely different, and not, it's very difficult to get back on the horse, shall we say, if you completely stop for a while. So that's very inspiring. And I think also, sadly, I think you need to go soon, because I see it's 6 a.m. your time. Crazy, you've been up so much. So I would love to ask you just a few questions about, obviously, the collection that you've created with us. Some of the things for your HIIT collection we would love to know is basically, what are the main goals for the users that you had in mind while you were creating this set for Asana Rebel?
Absolutely. So my goal always with fitness has been a feel-good approach, right? So the idea is that we're going to do something in fitness that is going to add value to our life, that's going to make us feel better. There a lot of times, we put this sort of aesthetic goal out there, but really that's just the byproduct of what we're doing. Like, our whole goal is to feel better, whether it be feel better in actual movement so that we can perform something better or feel better every day. So maybe you can run around and play with your children, or just feel like you have energy. And then the byproduct of that is that, okay, then you have this aesthetic look, right, that comes with training. So the goal is to feel better overall and kind of have this platform where we can move kind of anytime, anywhere, in all directions, and just become better overall.
Amazing. And I think that really fits to the fact that they're really just short, sweet workouts that will basically get your heart rate going up, and also, as you said, just build more power in yourself, because life is so much more enjoyable if it's easy, and it's your mobility is easily functioning. So I'm very excited personally to be able to try this, and I'm sure everyone in our company is. We're definitely going to do a challenge in the office and make sure that everyone, from the developers to customer support to the video editors, everyone is going to try the crystals.
I love that. I was telling everyone on set that they were going to have to try. I was like, you're going to have to try one.
How was it? It must have been so funny that there's, like, I guess on set there's just, I know it was Chris's team, so it's probably a bunch of dudes, and then you're like the most powerful one. I love that so much.
It was so funny. They were like, we have no idea how you are still moving right now.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. Oh, cool. Well, thank you so much for this. And I'm very excited. Hopefully we get to have you on again soon. We will definitely talk again soon. And everyone can kind of look forward to your collection coming out at the end of March.
Absolutely. And thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. Thanks, Crystal.
The Sauna Rebel.